Have you ever stood in the grocery store just staring at a wall of options? Like maybe you went in for something simple, I don't know, yogurt, pasta sauce, and suddenly there are 47 versions of the same thing. Different brands, different ingredients, different promises. And somehow, instead of feeling empowered, you feel stuck. Or you open Netflix, you scroll for 20 minutes, and you end up watching nothing. Or bigger than that, you start thinking about your life, your career, your relationships, your health, what you should be doing, what you could be doing. Instead of feeling excited by all the possibilities, you feel overwhelmed, maybe even a little anxious. And here's the interesting part. We've been told that more choices equals more freedom, more opportunities, more happiness. But what if that's not entirely true? What if the very thing that's supposed to make our lives better is actually making it harder to feel clear, grounded, and at peace?
Every lesson is a lyric in the universal song. Oh, the lessons of the journey, I weave them in my song.
Welcome back to Lessons of the Journey, the real life playbook. I'm Coach Jen here with Coach Nicole. If you're new here, this space is really about learning how to live with more clarity, more intention, and more connection to yourself. Not by doing more, but by understanding yourself better. And today's conversation is one that quietly impacts almost every part of our lives, but we don't always recognize it. Because on the surface, it looks like opportunity. It looks like freedom. It looks like we have more access than ever before to information, to paths, to ways of living. But underneath that, a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed, mentally fatigued, indecisive, second guessing ourselves more than we used to. And that's not because we're incapable, but because we're trying to navigate a world that is constantly presenting us with more options than our human brain was really designed to process all at once. And just to be clear, this is not a personal failure. This is a design feature of the modern world we're living in. And this episode isn't about becoming someone who makes perfect decisions. It's about becoming someone who makes clearer ones. So we're going to talk about it. What's actually happening in your brain when you're faced with too many choices? Why having more options doesn't always lead to more happiness? And how this can start to impact your mental and emotional well-being over time. But more importantly, we're going to talk about how to shift out of that. How to move from feeling overwhelmed by your options to feeling clear in how you choose. And a big part of that is something we don't talk about enough. It's your values. Because when you're clear on what actually matters to you, you don't need to sort through every possible option. Most of them fall away on their own. And what's left? Well, that feels a lot more like you. So if you've been feeling stuck or unsure, or like you're constantly overthinking even the smallest decisions, this episode is really going to give you a different way to look at that. Not as a personal flaw, but as something that makes a lot of sense given the world we're living in now. And also something you can absolutely shift.
I'm so excited we're getting into this.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually a name for what we're experiencing, and it's called decision fatigue and choice overload. And it's been studied extensively in psychology. One of the most well-known researchers in this space is Barry Schwartz, who wrote The Paradox of Choice in 2004. His core idea is simple, but powerful. When we have too many options, we don't feel freer. We feel more stressed, more anxious, and less satisfied with whatever we choose. Because every choice comes with pressure. Pressure to get it right, pressure to not miss out, pressure to choose the best option. And when there are hundreds or thousands of options, that pressure multiplies. So instead of making decisions easily, we hesitate, we overthink, we second guess, or we avoid choosing altogether. And this isn't just happening in grocery stores or on streaming platforms. This is happening in every area of our lives. Think about career paths. There used to be a handful of clear options. Now you can start a business, join a startup, work remotely, pivot careers at any age, monetize a passion, become a creator, which sounds amazing until you're trying to decide. Same thing with health. There's keto, paleo, vegan, intermittent fasting, cold plunges, supplements, breathwork, morning routines, evening routines. All claiming to be the best. Even relationships, what you want, what you deserve, what's healthy, what's aligned, what's settling. We are exposed to so many ways to live that it becomes harder to know which one is actually ours. And here's what starts to happen internally. You don't just feel overwhelmed, you start to feel unsure of yourself.
Yep. I have a Band-Aid wall story. You want to hear it?
Yes.
This is my decision fatigue story of my lifetime. This was pre-children. I'm in the middle of my career. I'm successful. I'm doing all of the things. We need Band-Aids at our house. Just Band-Aids. We ran out, needed Band-Aids. I'm on a business call. I'm talking to a client. I run into Walmart because I should be able to walk into Walmart, grab some Band-Aids, go do the self-checkout, all while staying on the phone. I get into Walmart and there is a wall full of Band-Aid options. And in my mind, I wanted 3 options. I wanted to choose small, medium, large, and I wanted to get the fuck out. And I could feel my eyes get big and I could feel the tension take over my body. I'm like, oh my God, there's too many choices.
Yes.
How do I know what I need? Do I
Yes.
need waterproof? I don't know. Would we shower with them on? Do I need a colorful one to make me feel happy? What size? The pad sizes aren't even the same. Do I need a big one? Do I need the multi-pack? All while on the phone. And my brain is having this mini panic attack. And I swear to you, I stood there for 30 minutes. I walked out with no Band-Aids. I can't do it. It was too much. I could not do it.
This is the whole point of this. It's too many options.
Yes.
So you've got your wall of Band-Aids in Walmart. Imagine you go online
Oh, yeah.
and you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and there's
No.
5,000 of what you want. You're going, never mind,
Yes.
forget it.
Yes, Nicole. Because when there are too many choices, every decision starts to feel like a test.
Mm.
What if I pick wrong? What if there's something better? What if I regret this later? The pad on the Band-Aid's not going to be big enough for my needs. So instead of feeling confident, you feel anxious. Instead of feeling decisive, you feel stuck.
Mm.
And even when you do choose something, there's often this lingering thought in the background. Was this the best option? And that quietly erodes your satisfaction. And over time, this does something deeper. It actually disconnects you from your own sense of knowing. Because instead of listening inward, you start scanning outward. You're comparing, you're researching, you're reconsidering constantly. And decision overload doesn't just live in your mind. It lives in your nervous system. Every unresolved choice is a small amount of background stress your body is carrying. Oh, don't we all know this? One of the most well-known studies around this idea is the jam study. Researchers set up a table in a grocery store. On some days, they offered 24 flavors of jam. On other days, just 6. Here's what happened. When there were 24 options, more people stopped to look. But when it came time to actually buy, far fewer made purchases. When there were only 6 options, fewer people stopped, but significantly more people bought something. Why? Because too many options create friction. Your brain has to work harder, evaluate more, compare more, and that cognitive load becomes exhausting. So instead of choosing, we opt out, or we choose and then we feel less satisfied. This is the paradox. More choice increases possibility, but decreases clarity.
I am so relating to this. One of the things that I have that goes in my brain, and I don't know if this happens to other people. Okay, if there's 5,000 choices and I get one, what if it's the 5,001 that's the perfect one that I'm looking for? Then you're going, whatever I get is not going to be right anyway. I feel that.
And isn't it funny how just societally we grew up leaning toward the negative? None of it's going to be right. Instead of, God, out of 5,000 options, something's going to be good for me. We just automatically as humans lead to the something's wrong.
Well, we've talked about that in other of
Yes.
our podcasts, is the whole still survival mechanisms, basically, is what we are. So we're always out there to figure out the threat.
Yes.
So
Yep.
even when it comes to choosing, like I'm trying to decide on this little organizer for my bathroom to put lotions and pedicure stuff in. I'm like, it's not gold enough, or it's too yellow, or it's too this. It doesn't have any wood. It has white. It has, and I'm like, oh my gosh, 5,000 options out there, and I cannot make a decision. I just end up closing out the websites. I feel overwhelmed by it.
It's wild. All these little things.
It's crazy. So what do we do with this? Do we try to eliminate options? Simplify everything? Move off grid? I think a lot of people want to do this. This might be why. Let's be real. Because the goal isn't to remove choice from your life. The goal is to change your relationship to it. And this is the shift. You really don't need fewer options. You need a clearer filter. Because the real problem isn't the number of choices, it's the lack of clarity in the person choosing. This is where value comes in, and not in a vague, abstract way, but in a very practical, grounded way. Your values are what matter to you, what you prioritize, what you're willing to choose, even when it's inconvenient. And here's what happens when you're clear on them. Your options naturally shrink, not because they're gone, but because they're no longer relevant. If you value simplicity, you stop considering high maintenance lifestyles. If you value growth, you choose the things that stretches you, not just comforts you. If you value connection, you prioritize relationships over constant productivity. And suddenly, you're not evaluating 50 options anymore. You're evaluating 5 or 2, or sometimes just 1. And that feels like relief, not restriction. So let's say you get invited to something tonight. Without clarity, you debate it for an hour. What if I miss out? What if I should go? What if I shouldn't? But with values, the question becomes simpler. Does this align with how I want to spend my energy this week? So if values are the answer, then why aren't we all just getting clear on our values? Seems simple. Well, the reason this isn't happening automatically is because most people have never actually defined their values, or they're living values that they were handed from their family, culture, society, or their values have changed, but their life hasn't caught up yet. So they're making decisions based on an outdated framework, and that creates friction, confusion, and that feeling of being pulled in too many directions. I know I can relate to all 3 of these.
100%. And you've heard us say these things in different ways. I say it, these things are no longer serving you. This is a huge reason people seek out coaching is, I'm stuck. All of these things make you feel stuck. And you're looking for that clarity. And coaching is just one of the ways that really helps you do that. So let's talk about other ways. How do you start creating clarity? You know, it's really tough to see the forest through the trees, that 30,000 foot view to really be able to narrow in. So how do we do this? It's not by building the perfect list of values. It's not by overthinking it. It's by bringing your awareness back to your actual life, not your Instagram life. It's your actual life, what's actually happening right now. I want you to treat this next part less like something you're listening to and more like something you're doing with me. Let's play right now. If you can, pause. Grab a note in your phone, grab your journal, or even just slow down your thinking and stay with this. Because you don't need perfect answers here. You just need honest ones. Let's start simple. Please ask yourself, what actually matters to me right now? Not 5 years ago, not what should matter, not what someone else told you matters. What actually matters to you right now in this season of your life? What feels important? Once you have that, let's go a layer deeper. When do I feel most like myself? Oh, that just gave me goosebumps. Think about real moments, not the ideal version, but your actual experiences. When do you feel grounded or clear? like you're not performing or trying. Who are you with? What are you doing? This is information. We want to collect it. Now, shift this slightly. What constantly drains me? Not once, not just sometimes, but all the time. What leaves you feeling depleted or resentful or disconnected from yourself? Because that matters just as much as what energizes you. Sometimes your values show up more clearly in what you can't tolerate anymore. And then what do I keep choosing, even when it's hard? This is important because your real values aren't just what you like. They're what you're willing to prioritize when it's inconvenient, when it costs you something, when it would be easier not to. What are you still choosing? And now I want to give you some simple exercise. Look back at your last 10 decisions, not the big dramatic ones, the day-to-day ones. How you spend your time, your energy, your attention, what you said yes to, what you avoided, what you delayed, what you committed to. Just scan them. I'm not asking you to judge them. You don't need to analyze every detail. Just start noticing the patterns. Are you choosing connection or independence? Comfort or growth, structure or freedom? None of this is right or wrong. It's what's happening with you. What themes keep showing up? Because here's the truth. Your life is already reflecting your values in real time, not the ones you say you have, the ones you're actually living. And when you start to see those patterns clearly, something shifts. You stop trying to figure yourself out in theory and you start understanding yourself through evidence. And from there, clarity becomes a lot simpler. Because now you're not asking, who should I be? You're asking, is this aligned with what already matters to me? And let's be very clear, your values are not fixed. They evolve as you do. Clarity isn't about finding the perfect set. It's about staying in relationship with what matters right now.
So just take a breath for a second and notice what came up for you. Not what sounds good, not what you think your values should be, but what actually showed up. Because that right there, that's your starting point. That's your filter. And it might not be perfect yet. It might feel a little unclear or even incomplete. But even a small amount of clarity changes how you move through your life. Because now you're not choosing from everything anymore. You're choosing from what's aligned. And that's where decision-making starts to feel different, less overwhelming, less heavy, less like you're constantly second-guessing yourself. So let's talk about what this actually looks like when you start applying your values to the decisions you're making every day. Because honestly, everything can change, and for the better. Career decisions become clearer, relationships feel more aligned, your time becomes more intentional, even small choices. What you say yes to, what you say no to, what you buy, what you don't buy, how you spend your day start to feel easier because you're no longer trying to optimize every option. You're choosing based on alignment. And this doesn't have to be dramatic. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. This is where gentle expansion comes in. And Jen and I love gentle expansion. You just start choosing slightly more in alignment than you did yesterday. One decision at a time. Let your life refine gradually. Less force and more awareness. Jen, when you were going through that process, I thought, okay, I'm going to step back from this. It's the silliest thing, but the stupid organizer that I'm trying to find. Legit, I have probably spent an hour and a half scanning for this thing. And what I started to realize was what really aligns with my values right now is finding something like that that's at a Goodwill or an antique store, something unique and different. I'm really loving, for my value system right now, found objects versus just buying things. And on the other side of my values right now, buying less of what I would call fast fashion or cheap products. I know that's super simplistic because you could take that so deep, questions you're asking yourself. But I love that it gave me some clarity around that.
Yes. And your story just reminded me of another one. And we love sharing stories. Everybody can learn from other people's stories. I was looking for side tables for a guest bedroom. I had this whole theme. I found these 2 tables and they were great. I would go to different stores. I would look online. And I kept coming back to these 2 tables in a store. I thought, gosh, these would be great, but the color of the light, they're black and that's really not going to work. But I kept coming back to them and I thought, you know what I would really love? I would really love if they were champagne color. There was nothing that made sense. And I had this light bulb moment and I was like, well, I could just make them gold.
Yeah. Spray paint.
Why couldn't I just go get some spray paint and make it exactly what I wanted? And you're exactly right, because it was mostly right. It took me a long time to figure out. I had the ability to go and make it exactly what I wanted. It was 90% of the way there. I didn't even have to leave the store. I went and found the color of spray paint that I wanted, took them home, made it exactly what I want. They are still in that room today.
I love that.
Why did it take me so long to go, oh, I have the power to complete this? And that is one of my values, being creative. I was leaving it up to somebody else to give me what I was looking for, but how dare I? I know what I'm looking for and I could create what I was looking for if somebody got me 80, 90% there. I think about that too. If you see something, Nicole, like your bathroom organizer, and gosh, I just wish this one little piece, make it what you want. Like, this is what
and I appreciate that reminder because you are 100% correct. I have seen something really similar to what I'm looking for, but with different metal. I could take that off and just spray paint it. I hadn't even thought about that. You know what? Full confession. I think Jen would agree with me. We do not have IKEA hacker brains.
No,
like we do not look at something and go, oh, I can do this and I can do that. I was at a Goodwill and I was looking at shirts and I heard this woman say, oh, I'd love to change out the buttons and the this and the that. I'm like, I wish I was that kind of person. Yeah, I'm not. I'm creative, but not at that level at all. So maybe really the problem isn't that you have too many choices. Maybe it's that you've been trying to choose without a clear sense of what matters. Because when you know who you are, your options don't overwhelm you. They organize themselves around you. And that's where clarity lives, not in having fewer choices, but in becoming someone who knows how to choose.
I love that you said they organize themselves around you.
Isn't that great?
I have felt that in superior clarity, and that is such a true statement. I love that you said that out loud.
So give me some of your takeaways, Jen.
Well, first and foremost, decision fatigue is a real thing. I love that we are identifying that it is actually a thing, that we are talking about taking the pressure off of yourself, allowing that gentle expansion that we continue to talk about, and understanding that, okay, we're all going through this. And then the ability to figure out how to kind of make it easier. You and I love clarifying our values, and so many people really float around life without knowing exactly what that looks like. That's why those deep discount clothing stores exist and you can get 87 things for $12. But guess what? You're throwing it away after one use, or it's unraveling. Being able to understand what really, really matters to you does organize those decisions around you. I just keep coming back to that. I love that you said that. We've expanded clarity is not only power, but it is also kindness. So we are choosing to be kind to ourselves when we allow for this awareness. I love this episode.
I'm going to expand on something you said. If you had said to me 2 years ago, Nicole, you should have a capsule wardrobe, I'd be like, no, there's not enough choices in a capsule wardrobe. I'm on a journey of value discovery. I've been on this journey for a long time, but I'm also getting clear about the fact that too many choices doesn't serve me. Now I understand the concept of a capsule wardrobe. Everything goes together. You accentuate through accessories. You express yourself still. I really thought it was going to limit me. And you start talking about there's so many options. If you open your closet and you go, holy crap, there's 25 tops. I can't pick which one is me right now. Well, if I open my closet and there's 5 of the tank tops I wear because I'm a woman in menopause and I will not wear a long sleeve shirt even in the winter. I will just put something over it. There's 5. I just pick the color I want. So having less choices, but them being the smart choices, I love that because they make me feel good when I put them on.
Yes.
I understand that concept and I'm really getting clarity around this. I love the questions because I'm thinking, man, I could just come back to those questions around literally anything. When we were talking about this episode, I felt like those were those deep questions for your deep values. But in reality, I was like, hey, I'm going to play along and see if I can work this through with this little, probably going to cost me $20. I'm going to see if I can work this through. And those questions worked beautifully. I was like, wow, I now have a plan. I know exactly what I want to do and what I want to find. And it may take me a little longer, but that's where I find the joy.
I really like that. You can ask yourself these questions regularly. We're not talking about like annually, you need to have a conversation. I'm talking about
doesn't have to be deep.
This month, I have this going on. We just finished baseball season. And for a long time, that was what was happening. Next month, we won't have any of that. And so I get to ask myself these questions regularly to decide where my values lie. And of course, my children matter to me. And so I'm getting them to the sports. The sports matter to me. I'm rearranging my life such that that makes sense for my life at that time. When we don't have that, I get to look at other things. I get to become more clear on what this month is going to look like based on our priorities and our values. I really like that they're not overwhelming questions. I don't think they are, especially if you're not judging yourself, which is really the key to all of this. They're asking the questions and then looking at the data points to decide where to move from there. It's all just information. And that's what we're asking you to gather on yourself, because it's important to know who you are and what you're doing. And the information is important.
I think the other part is the flip side of that. Definitely the judgment of self, but the judgment of others as well. If you're taking your kids to sports and you know sports is something that you really value as a family, maybe that kid that doesn't show up all the time, they just don't value sports as much. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you give them the leeway to be who they are through the experience of what they value versus, I'll be honest, judging me, be like, why are they not bringing their kid to the, you know what I mean? So I feel like there's a way that when we align our values, we start to realize that everybody else has different values, and that's okay.
Yes. That's hard for me sometimes.
I agree with you 100%. I am judgy Judy, man. I'm working on it.
I'm coaching my 2 younger kids' soccer teams. And as a sports parent sitting on the sideline, I am that judgy Judy. Sorry, Judy's. As the coach, I somehow turn into this, everybody's got whatever's going on. Maybe communicate with me. Just let me know that you're not going to show up. But for some reason, when I step into the coaching role in the sports, even in my life coaching role, I go, oh, all judgment is gone. I don't know what that is about. Like my mom brain over here on the sideline is like, ugh. And my coach brain is like, yeah, everybody's got a thing, you know? It's so funny.
That's good that you can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go into questions.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Well, come on, Nicole. Yes. Okay. Here's a fun one. What is something that makes 0 sense to other people but works for you?
Man, my brain is going, if it works for me, it should make sense to everyone.
Yep.
I mean, nothing I do is going to make 0 sense to no one. Obviously, there's people who are going to understand. Let me think of what's the thing that maybe a lot of people don't understand, but works for me. That's a good question. You kind of stumped me there. I'm going to go with my directness. I think the people that love me and care about me and are close to me understand my style and that I'm just a direct kind of person. I think a lot of people think, you know, they'll call me a bitch because I'm direct. And I used to really hate that word, but now I'm like, I own it. I'm okay with it. And maybe even sometimes people from the outside will look at the way I am with the people I love and be like, oh, you're too mean to them. Yeah, but you don't see all the back stuff that goes on. I may be very direct in certain moments, but that's the way I get things done. Because if somebody wants something done, they'll call me first because I'm going to get it done, gal. Yet that's because I'm direct. So it has value, but I think a lot of people look at that and go, she's too mean.
Yeah.
Being direct is okay, even if you're female. Because if I was a male, nobody'd have a problem with
Absolutely.
the way I'm direct.
We're going to have to do a whole different episode on this. I hear you on that. Yeah, the differences.
Yeah, that as a girl, you can be direct, and sometimes I'm direct. And I think people see it as rude, even though I'm like, that's not rude at all. I didn't raise my voice. I said what I needed. I was very clear.
Yeah.
I don't see that as being rude.
Because somehow societally, women were told that we needed to put a little cheeky smiley face after something that was direct. What? No, you end that sentence with a period. Yeah, we have evolved into, I need the little LOL at the end because that was kind of a serious thing that I just said. No, let it be what it is. No, I hear you. That's a good answer, that one. I was expecting something like, I like cheese on this, but not on that.
I don't have any weird food things that I know of. I mean, I don't know if I've ever talked about the salt. So this is the most polarizing salt. This Himalayan sea salt. But if you buy Himalayan sea salt, it's probably not going to be this. Okay, when you open this salt, this is going to sound so strange. It smells like a fart. Okay.
What? Why is it going on your food?
Okay. Here's the way I compare it, because people are probably going, what in the heck is she talking about? Stinky cheese.
Okay.
Some people love stinky cheese.
Yeah.
I'm not a stinky cheese person, but I understand people who like that flavor. This salt, it's a very sulfuric taste to it.
Okay.
My husband hates it. He's like, oh, you're pouring stinky salt. Like you can smell it. I love this stuff, especially on a salad with oil and sweet vinegar. And then you put the stinky salt on to like balance it out. Oh my gosh, it's fantastic. I love it. My father loved it. My oldest son loves it. My youngest granddaughter loves it. My oldest granddaughter hates it. My husband hates it. And my youngest son hates it. It's really polarizing, this salt. So yeah, there's the food answer. Stinky salt. I used to work in a restaurant and they put vegetables on the salad and they'd open the broccoli. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've ever worked in a restaurant. It smells like farts. It's like broccoli has that same, I don't know what it is to it, but yeah, it smells like, it's like, oh, they open the vegetables. But anyway, that would be the answer. So I get my deep answer.
Love it.
That's a deep answer. All right, Jen, what would an amusement park designed specifically to make you happy be like?
Ooh, I love amusement parks. I love roller coasters. Odd thing, I don't get motion sickness or any type of that on roller coasters, but I do get seasick. I get car sick. I don't get it. I love roller coasters. Now, here's what I don't love. I grew up in Southern California. Magic Mountain was very close. And the one ride that ever made me feel motion sickness was the wooden roller coaster because it was kind of like rickety. The other ones never did. They were a smoother ride. My amusement park would have 0 wooden roller coasters. I like the movement on the roller coasters. I don't care how high they go. I'm fine with even the upside down, but I don't like the direct fall ones.
The Superman ride at Magic Mountain.
Just where you're like hanging out and it goes, bah! None of those. So no wooden roller coasters, no just straight up and down elevator falls, none of that. But take me up as high as you want, any smooth roller coasters. Also, churro station at every corner.
Oh.
Love me some churros. Those big dill pickles. Gotta have some of those. Ooh. I like a lemonade. My perfect place would have a ton of roller coasters, lots of churros, dill pickles, and lemonade.
Anything you would add that you wouldn't normally find at an amusement park?
Maybe I'd throw some zoo animals in the mix. Maybe we do like a wild animal park and the animals are just roaming around as we're on the roller coasters.
Oh, that's cool.
I would like it to be on the coast during whale watching season. I don't want any Shamu situations going on, but the wild animal park, the roller coasters, lemonade, churros, pickles, and then whales jumping in the background. We just created a dream.
So might I suggest, you won't see the whales, but you might want to go to Animal Kingdom.
Ah, where's that?
In Disney World. It's one of the four or five parks they have there. It's my favorite.
Okay.
And it's probably the least visited of all the parks.
We haven't made it there yet.
That's a good answer. I like the churros. That's cool.
Okay. So maybe the real issue was never that you had too many choices. Maybe it's that no one ever taught you how to choose in a way that actually feels aligned. Because when you don't have clarity on what matters to you, every option feels equally important. Every path feels equally possible. And every decision starts to carry more weight than it needs to. But when you start to get even a little bit clear on your values, something shifts. You don't eliminate choice, you eliminate confusion. You stop trying to optimize every decision and you start trusting your direction. And life doesn't necessarily get simpler on the outside, but it gets a lot quieter on the inside. less noise, less second guessing, more steadiness in how you move throughout your day. So if there's one thing we hope you take from this, it's not that you need fewer options. It's that you need a clearer sense of you inside of the options you already have. Because clarity doesn't come from the world getting quieter. It comes from you getting more rooted in what actually matters to you. And if this episode resonated with you, send this to someone who might need it too. Because most people aren't struggling with a lack of opportunities. They're struggling with too many without a clear way to choose. And sometimes just hearing that reflected back can make things feel a little more manageable, a little more understandable, a little less like something is wrong with you, and more like something finally makes sense. Thanks for being here. We'll see you back next week.
Bye, everyone.
Write your lines with